In the depths of a harsh winter, as Europe battles freezing temperatures and rising energy demands, a silent war threatens to plunge the continent into chaos. This is no ordinary conflict. It is a battle over energy, a weapon Russia has wielded for decades. Long accused of using its vast energy reserves to manipulate geopolitics, Russia now faces mounting allegations of orchestrating a covert campaign to destabilize Europe's power systems. The evidence is overwhelming, and the implications are chilling. Europe's reliance on Russian energy has been its greatest vulnerability for decades. In 2021, Russia supplied approximately 40% of Europe's natural gas imports, with Germany alone depending on Russia for over 55% of its gas. This dependency created a fragile balance, leaving Europe exposed to Russian influence. The Nord Stream pipelines, stretching over 1,200 kilometers under the Baltic Sea, symbolized this dangerous reliance. In 2022, these critical lifelines were damaged by unexplained explosions, cutting off vital gas supplies. While Moscow denied involvement, analysts pointed to Russia's history of weaponizing energy crises. The sabotage sent energy prices soaring, with natural gas costs increasing by more than 400% in some EU nations, plunging millions into fuel poverty. Beyond physical attacks on pipelines, Europe faces an even more insidious threat: cyber sabotage. Russian-backed hacking groups like Sandworm and Fancy Bear have become notorious for targeting critical infrastructure worldwide. These state-sponsored cyber armies have refined their tactics over years of successful operations. In 2015, Ukraine's power grid was crippled by coordinated cyberattacks, leaving hundreds of thousands without power. A year later, another attack plunged Kyiv into darkness for hours. These were not isolated incidents, they were warnings. By 2023, cyber-attacks on European energy infrastructure had surged by 38%, according to the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, or ENISA. The attacks bore the hallmarks of advanced Russian cyber warfare, including spear phishing campaigns, malware infiltration, and grid disruptions. One particularly alarming development was the deployment of Indestroyer 2, a malware designed to specifically target Europe's interconnected smart grids. Experts warned that this strain had the potential to cause cascading failures across multiple countries, leaving millions without electricity during the harshest winters. In early 2024, a bombshell revelation emerged. A whistleblower from Gazprom, Russia's state-controlled energy giant, leaked classified documents detailing a covert operation named Operation Polar Night. The plan outlined a multi-pronged strategy to exploit Europe's energy vulnerabilities. It included orchestrating artificial shortages by shutting down pipelines under the guise of maintenance, launching cyber attacks on power grids, and spreading disinformation campaigns to sow confusion and blame European leaders. These revelations were corroborated by intercepted Norwegian intelligence communications that indicated Russian operatives probing undersea cables critical to Europe's energy and communication systems. Satellite imagery from late 2023 revealed unusual activity near Russian gas compressor stations, further fueling concerns of impending disruptions. As investigations deepened, cybersecurity experts discovered pre-installed malware in several European energy networks. This malware was dormant but capable of being activated remotely to disrupt entire grids. The scope of the infiltration was staggering, with vulnerabilities identified in Germany, France, and Poland, countries integral to the EU's energy supply chain. Faced with this unprecedented assault, Europe launched an urgent counteroffensive. In 2024, the European Commission unveiled the Energy Independence Initiative, a bold plan to end its reliance on Russian energy. Liquefied natural gas, or LNG, imports from Qatar, the United States, and Norway surged by 60% compared to 2022 levels. The EU accelerated renewable energy adoption, setting an ambitious target of generating 45% of its electricity from renewables by 2030. Wind and solar farms across the continent were fast-tracked, and new nuclear energy projects were greenlit in France and Finland. Member states also allocated billions to bolster their cybersecurity defenses, deploying AI-powered threat detection systems capable of identifying and neutralizing attacks in real time. At the geopolitical level, NATO and EU nations intensified collaboration. Joint military exercises now included scenarios simulating energy infrastructure sabotage, while intelligence sharing between allies reached unprecedented levels. Countries like Poland and the Baltic states long wary of Russian aggression, became pivotal in coordinating Europe's defensive strategies. Russia's objectives go beyond energy dominance. Analysts believe the Kremlin aims to fracture Europe's unity, exploiting its vulnerabilities to weaken NATO's resolve and undermine the EU's political cohesion. However, the plan may be backfiring. The perceived threat has galvanized European nations, forging new alliances and strengthening their collective resilience. Even historically neutral countries like Sweden and Finland have moved closer to NATO, a direct response to Russia's aggression. The stakes are colossal. If Europe fails to protect its energy systems, the consequences will be devastating. Entire industries could collapse, economies could plunge into recession, and millions of households could face prolonged blackouts during freezing winters. A complete loss of power in major cities like Berlin or Paris could lead to widespread unrest and destabilization. Yet, if Europe succeeds in breaking free from Russian energy dependency, it could cripple Moscow's geopolitical leverage, potentially reshaping global power dynamics for decades. This is no longer just a struggle for energy, it is a battle for sovereignty, security, and survival. The lights across Europe are still on, but the shadow of darkness looms ever closer. As the world watches, one question remains: will Europe rise to meet this unprecedented challenge, or will it succumb to a winter that could mark the end of its unity and stability?